The retelling of spooky ghost stories and legends has been a favorite pastime and important cultural link in Hawaii since ancient times. Ghostly apparitions and paranormal activity have been reported in old buildings, deep valleys, forested areas, beaches, and lava fields. With a rich history of mythology and folklore and the many sacred sites, Hawaii's link to the past is ever present. Today, we will look at 10 of Hawaii's many urban legends. The Iolani Palace in downtown Honolulu was completed in 1882 under King Kakalau's rule. When he died in January of 1891, his sister Lilulekani became queen and was the last royal to live in the palace. In 1895, the queen was overthrown and illegally imprisoned in the palace in an upper bedroom. The queen eventually died of a stroke in 1917. While captive, she would spend her time composing songs, poetry, needlework, and quilting. Many of her works are included at the museum currently in the palace. Locals believe that mana, or unexplainable energy forces, are within the artifacts. According to legends, the queen's restless spirit still roams the palace and the grounds, along with several other spirits. In 2006, after visiting hours, a Hawaiian woman's image was seen in the upstairs rooms. Visitors have reported unexplainable talking, footsteps, and the image of a woman dressed in black. The queen was also known to be fond of cigars. Visitors have reported unexplainable smells of cigar smoke. Also, there is a strange light in the palace turret that was never wired for electricity. After closing the palace at night, the security alarms will sometimes be set off. The guards will report to the alarm and upon investigating would find no one around, but the queen's bedroom door would be unlocked and opened. They would reset the alarm and a few hours later would return to find the alarm going off again and the door to the queen's bedroom mysteriously opened and unlocked. If you visit and take a stroll through the grounds, take notice of the 135-year-old banyan trees. Guards have reported strange sightings near and around the trees. It is believed that many ghosts live within the branches and are thought to be wandering spirits of commoners and royalty. On the grounds, there is a fenced-off area with a sign that says kapu, which means danger or keep out. The space inside the fence is an ancient burial site of the royal Kamalau II and Queen Kamalau. There are also many members of the monarchy buried here. In 1865, their bodies were exhumed and relocated to the Royal Mausoleum of Hawaii. The kapu sign is a fair warning. The sacred grounds are forbidden and believed to have great mana. It is off limits. Night marchers are a ghostly band of beings who move with purpose to the beat of primitive drums. Some say they are armed spirit warriors en route to or from battle. They carry archaic weaponry and are clothed in decorative helmets and cloaks. Other stories tell of high-ranking ruler spirits being guided to places of importance or to welcome new warriors joining the battle. Some say the night marchers are looking for an entrance to the next world. Night marchers are recognized by their raised torches, chants, and distant drum beating. Although mostly active at night, there have been reports of people seeing them during the day. If you happen upon the night marchers, legends say never look at them directly. If you do, you, a friend, or a relative face a grim fate. To avoid this, people are to crouch low to the ground and play dead, definitely averting their eyes. Any sound or movement will invite the night marcher's deadly glance. The night marchers are usually accompanied with some or all of the following characteristics: heavy wind, rows of spirits carrying torches, alternating male and female rows, lightning and thunder, heavy rain or high surf, chanting and drum beating, unusually bright torches, game playing and rivalry, mist or fog. Many locals who have never seen or heard the restless warrior spirits will tell you they very much believe in their existence. If you happen to be in the path of the night marchers and the faint sound of drumming sends a chill down your spine, remember to show the ancient warriors respect through solitude. By day, the Wahiawa Botanical Gardens is a beautiful destination for those wanting to see the lush tropical flora. But at night, if you peer into the gulch, you might catch a glimpse of the local ghost, the Green Lady of Wahiawa. According to legends, there was a woman and her children who would visit the botanical gardens often. One day, while taking a shortcut through the gulch, she lost one of her children in the dense growth. Unable to find her child, she died of a broken heart. She is said to now wander the area, snatching up children she finds playing in the gulch, and has also been spotted at a nearby elementary school. According to reports of the Green Lady, she is a monstrous woman with green-tinted skin. Her clothing and long black hair is covered with moss and seaweed. When she is near, you can smell the stench of decaying plant matter that covers her. Pele is the goddess of fire, lightning, wind, dance, and volcanoes. Also known as Kawahine, the woman who devours the land, Pele's home is believed the Halemaumau crater, at the summit of the world's most active volcano. To this day, any volcanic eruption in Hawaii is attributed to Pele's longing to be with her true love. There are many stories of how Pele came to Hawaii. One common legend says that Pele, who was born Hanameu in Tahiti, was sent away by her father because of her difficult temper and for seducing her sister's husband. She found her way to the Hawaiian Islands, where legend after legend bubbled up around her many lovers, infidelities, and feuds. Another well-known legend of Pele is that her older brother, the king of the sharks, gave Pele a large canoe and she and her brother sailed away, eventually coming to the Hawaiian Islands. She is said to have made landfall on Kauai, where she was attacked by her sister and left for dead. According to legend, she was able to recover and escape to Oahu, where she dug fire pits, including the crater Diamond Head. She then traveled through the island chain to Molokai, and then along to Maui, where she is said to have made the Halakela volcano. When Pele's sister found out she survived, she went to Maui and they had an epic battle where Pele was torn apart by her sister and became a god, finding home on the Mauna Kea, where she dug her final fire pit, the Halemaumau crater at the summit of Kilauea, where she is still today. And yet another legend says that Pele was married for a short and violent time to Kampayua, the god of water. According to legends, Pele rerouted Kampayua from their home on Halemaumau and angrily chased him with the rivers of lava into the Pacific Ocean. Pele is often portrayed as a wanderer, and sightings of the goddess have been reported throughout the island chain for hundreds of years, but especially near the volcanic craters. In these sightings, she appears as either a very tall, beautiful young woman or an unattractive, frail, elderly lady accompanied by a white dog. According to legends, Pele takes the form of the elderly beggar woman to test people, asking them for food or drink. Those who share with her are rewarded, but the greedy, unkind are punished with their homes being destroyed. One of the legends of Pele you should take heed of if visiting the islands is the one of the curse she is said to inflict upon those who remove lava rocks from her island home. While many, including local residents, believe it is only a legend, to this day, thousands of pieces of lava rock are mailed back to the island from travelers all over the world who insist they have suffered bad luck as a result. On December 7, 1941, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, which brought the United States into World War II. The USS Arizona was based along with 7 other battleships in Pearl Harbor's Battleship Row. During the attack, several bombs hit their mark. One of these penetrated the Arizona's forecastle, which detonated her forward ammunition magazines. The resulting massive explosion wrecked its forward hull, collapsing the forward superstructure and caused her to sink. In the months after the attack, most of the USS Arizona's armament and topside structure was removed, and her hull remains where she sank in the shallow water. In the 1950s, she began to be used for memorial ceremonies, and by the 1960s, an official memorial was built that is run by the National Park Service. It is a permanent shrine for all those brave souls who lost their lives in Pearl Harbor and those who died fighting the Pacific War that started here. All warships that enter and leave Pearl Harbor pause and salute the USS Arizona. For years, visitors and park employees have reported some strange activity. Photos that have been taken around the memorial show strange, foggy spots and misty human figures in the background. One specific ghost is said to appear is that of an officer who was posted on Arizona's deck that fateful morning. Something distracted the officer and he briefly left his post. It was during this time the Japanese attacked and the officer was killed. People believe he is seen because he is driven by guilt to walk the deck and look out near the flagpole. The officer is mostly seen at night, low tide, and in the dim light of dawn. The famous Kiamuki house, located at the corner of 8th and Harding, is sitting on 2 beds of lava rock and is one of the most haunted places on the island. The house looks like any other house, but the stories behind it terrifying. The Japanese folklore creature Kashi, the man-eating ghost, is said to live here. The original story says that a young couple moved into the house, and soon neighbors started hearing loud bangs and crashes. Suspecting domestic violence, they called the police. When the police arrived, the couple claimed that they were being attacked by an unseen force. In 1942, there was an article in the local newspaper about an incident at the home. Answering a near riot call at the home, police found a 10-year-old boy and his 2 sisters, 18 and 20, shrieking on the couch. The mother was standing beside them, shrieking and waving tea leaves and sprinkling them with Hawaiian salt to ward off ghosts. She told police that her son had detected the smell of a ghost, which angered the spirit, and it began to attack him, then tried to strangle his sisters. "My husband who left me is to blame," the mother said. After about an hour and a half of struggling, the police and the family yielded the home to the Kanua. A report about 30 years later says police got a call from 3 girls sharing the same house. The girls had heard some strange noises like someone moving around and talking, and one girl even felt a hand on her arm. They decided to spend the night at the home of one of the girls' mothers and wanted the police to follow them for safety. The policemen followed the girls. Suddenly, the girl driving pulled into the parking lot. According to the police report, the girl sitting in the middle of the front seat was fighting off someone who was strangling her, but he didn't see anyone around. He jumped out to help and said he felt a big, calloused hand grab his arm, but again he didn't see it. He then radioed for backup. When backup arrived, the other police officer told him, "There is a ghost in the car." Then he turned as white as a sheet and the girls were hysterical. They were able to get the girl out that was being choked and into the police car, but when they tried to leave, it wouldn't start. Thinking it was safe, the girl then returned to her car and was strangled to death. There are several possible stories that could possibly explain the paranormal activity. The first, which is a twist on the story about the children. It says that a father killed his 2 children and his wife in the home. The wife and the son's bodies were found buried in the yard, but the girl's corpse was never found. The second involves a lesbian couple that lived there. One of the women became involved with a man. When he found out about his girlfriend's secret, he killed both women and then himself in the house. The original Kiamuki house was torn down in 2016, and a new house is being built at the same location. The origins of Mujina stretch back to Japanese legends brought with immigrants from Japan. Mujina is said to be a faceless creature with the power to manifest into human form. In 1959, there was a report of a local woman at a drive-in theater that went to use the bathroom. When she entered, she saw a woman combing her long red hair. When she turned around, the red-haired woman did not have a face, only a black space where it should have been. According to reports, the woman became hysterical, screaming uncontrollably after seeing this. When other movie watchers and employees came to see what happened, they found the woman lying on the floor alone in the bathroom in a severe state of distress. She was taken to the hospital and received psychiatric treatment. In 1981, the same woman contacted a radio station who was discussing this incident and insisted that the incident was real, not something she imagined. According to local legends, the drive-in theater was built next to an old cemetery in Kalahala, with some of the graves being desecrated during construction, which many believe to have awakened the Majina. In the late 1980s, the theater was demolished and replaced with a shopping mall and housing complex. That has not put a stop to the sightings, though. Many people have reported seeing the faceless woman on the streets of the housing complex and the mall. The Ben Onawenu Pali Drive, just outside of Honolulu, is said to be the site of many paranormal sightings as a result of a murder that happened here on March 10, 1948. On that day, 2 prisoners, James Majors, 19, and John Palikiko, 21, escaped while on work release. The next day, having no food, supplies, or money, they broke into the home of Teresa Wilder, 68, who lived on that corner. They quickly overpowered the older woman, severely beating her enough that she suffered a broken jaw. Then they tied and gagged her. Her body was discovered 5 days later. The pair were finally caught and arrested and charged with Wilder's murder. They were found guilty and sentenced to death, but that was changed to life in prison. It is reported still today that Mrs. Wilder's and the prisoner's ghosts haunt the old road. Another legend tied to Morgan's Corner is the death by suicide of a teen girl named Bettina Lockman. According to legend, she hung herself from a tree at Morgan's Corner. Even more gruesome, legends say that when she flung herself towards death, her head was separated from her body. It is said her head was not buried with her body, so her spirit now roams the area. The final legend of Morgan's Corner is of a young couple who parked their car under the tree one night. When they tried to leave, the car wouldn't start. The young man decided he would go for help and left the young woman locked in the car until he returned. After a while, she fell asleep to the constant tapping on the roof of the car of the tree branches swaying in the wind. Early the next morning, she was woken by a tapping on the window by the police. They told her to get out of the car, but do not turn around. As she started to explain why she was there asleep, she just couldn't resist the urge of turning around. She was greeted with the gruesome sight of her boyfriend, hanging upside down in the tree, with a gaping slice in his torso, his fingertips outstretched, touching the car's roof. Along the Pali road, there has been reports of a ghost girl with long black hair seen skipping down the road. Legends say the girl met a tragic end on the road when she was raped and strangled with her own jump rope. When her body was found sometime later, her lower face was eaten away by wild animals and her eyes bulging out of their sockets. At a distance, there is nothing scary about this ghostly figure, but as she skips and floats down the road closer, the real horror sets in. Only half of her face is visible, and her eyes bulging out of the sockets. Honolulu Airport, also known as Daniel K. Inouye International Airport, has a few ghosts of its own. According to legends, the spirit of a young blonde-haired woman wearing a white dress can be seen waiting at various gates at night. Stories say she fell in love with a man who promised to marry her, only to take off on an international flight, never to return. She was heartbroken and committed suicide. Reports say she can still be seen waiting for her lover's return, sometimes even in the secured areas where most people don't have clearance to go. Other reports from the airport include toilet paper rolls that unravel on their own, toilet seats that slam down by themselves, and toilets flushing on their own. There's also a choking ghost who sits on people's chest and makes them feel as if they are choking. Also, on Waiki Waiki's shuttle, a ghostly passenger is said to appear in the back during the middle of the night.